Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. Today we have William Davis here with us, and he's got an interesting story to share with us as well. And he's also helping create great leaders at the moment, and he's got a huge experience running a Fortune 500 company. So, William, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Morning, Tony. Thank you for having me on. It's like you said, I worked in Fortune 500 companies in corporate America for almost 40 years. And was a senior leader throughout that time. And I retired in May of 2025 simply for the fact that leadership, at least over the last 15 or 20 years, in my opinion, has started going the wrong way. We do not treat our people as people. We treat them as assets. We treat them as person numbers, whatever you want, but we don't treat them as humans. And we need to get back to that because, whether you're talking about retention rates, whether you're talking about employee satisfaction or dissatisfaction, my opinion, because of my experience in my career, it all comes back to the fact that you have to build the relationships with your people in order to be able to treat them the way that they want to be treated and to allow them to grow and to be able to be satisfied in the work that they're doing.
Great. And you have all this experience from Fortune 500 companies. So, what actually inspired you to start your own business?
Well, I've been very dissatisfied with the corporate world in regards to how it treats people for, again, as I said, 15 to 20 years. So I've seen that path, degrade over that period of time. And so I just decided, I turned 60, and I thought to myself, you know what, I'm not going to want to work a whole lot longer, 5, 7, 10 years maybe. It's time to get back because I think that the corporate world and people that have worked for me have given me so much, allowed me to have so much success in my career, and so I wanted to give back. And again, the World Economic Forum in 2023 classified that we had a world leadership crisis. And then in the United States, in November of that same year, the U.S. News World Report Harris poll came out. And of the respondents, 86% felt like we had a leadership failure in society. And then 84% felt like we had a leadership deficiency in government. But the number that really stuck out with me was 78% said that we have a leadership problem in corporate America. And that was what I was seeing. That was what I was feeling. And I just told my wife, I said, look, that leadership's not difficult. Leadership is very simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. And so when we talk about, being a great leader, that's the job. It's not the managing the tasks from A to Z anymore. When you transition into a leadership role, your role is now to take care of your people, help them grow, help them lead, in the generations to follow you. And it's a great responsibility, and it has a lot of work associated with it. But unfortunately, too many people think that leadership is just a classification or a title, and there's not really that much to it.
Yes, I agree 100%. And on top of that, those are fascinating numbers that you just mentioned as well. So, how do you actually help people transform from, sort of like having challenges as leaders to being able to perform on the best possible level, and also to become great leaders that people like to either follow or get influenced by?
Well, the first question I always ask somebody when I work with them is, why did you want to be a leader? Or why do you want to be a leader? And again, the answer that they give you tells a lot about their mindset. If they wanted the title, if they wanted the power, perceived power, if they wanted the pay, they wanted the corner office, whatever it was, if that's the mindset that they have, they're not going to be an effective leader because they're coming at it from a selfish perspective. What's in it for me? what I've always tried to help them understand is you've already attained, if you're a leader, you've already attained a level of success where people look at you at a different level than everybody else. And so now it's your turn to make sure that the people that work for you, work with you, have the ability to have the same success that you have, to nurture them, to train them, to help them. And it's not just, from a work perspective. We all have in our lives, we all have struggles, we all have troubles, we all have disasters that occur, uh, but we also all have goals, success metrics that we want to meet, desire to succeed, to feel needed, to feel wanted, to feel successful. And so as a leader, you have to help the person, each individual person, navigate all that. And obviously, there's a certain line that you don't cross in the personal level of someone's life. But like for instance, if someone has a tragedy going on in their life, or they're having family issues, somebody's sick, or whatever, you as a leader, you got to get creative and help them manage that in their life while they're still doing their work. Because if you just cut them loose, that does nobody any good, right? That's not supporting and helping people. And you've got to be able to help them come out of that situation on the other side as good, or if not better than where they were before it happened.
Definitely. And what sort of problems people are facing before they start working with you, William?
Well, a lot of it is the fact that, particularly in the United States, we have a huge retention issue. Gen Z, love them, worked with them, and I think they have a lot of knowledge, abilities, and so forth. But, I worked for 3 companies in 40 years. But there's a lot of people coming out of college that will have had 3 jobs in 3 months, or 3 jobs in the first year. And it's because they're not being satisfied. And when I say satisfied, it's not a selfish thing. They want to feel like that they're able to grow, that their career will actually mean something, they can do something with it. And so you've got to help them understand that here's the process. And I'm there to support you all the way through it, to help you, reach those goals that you have for yourself. But I'm also looking out for the corporation, and I want to help you help us, because that's the win-win that everybody they want to have.
Definitely, definitely. And what sort of result people can actually expect after they worked with you?
Well, if they follow what I teach them in regards to building genuine relationships, which I think is the absolute foundation for being a successful leader, your retention rate will go up. I was blessed in my career to have a 90+% retention rate over 38 years. And it wasn't me per se. It was the relationship I had established with my people. They understood I was looking out for them. I had their best interests, and that's a very interesting thing, Tony. When you establish those relationships with people, they know that you have their back, you have their best intentions. You can have those tough conversations, right? And not have people storm out the door mad. They understand, hey, this is a critique. This is constructive criticism that I can take, and I can apply it, and I can be better. Because they know at the end of the day, you're not trying to undermine them. You're not trying to make them look bad, but you have their career aspirations at the center of what you're working on or working through.
Definitely. And then on top of that, what actually inspires you about what you do?
I think the results, right? I got so frustrated, the latter half of my career with, people that I reported to, and the arrogance and the insensitivity that they showed to people that reported to them or worked with them. That as I see people implement the things we talk about, and what I work with them to accomplish, that relationship that they have with people changes for the better. But it's not just that. They themselves feel better about what they're doing, because they don't feel like that there's a competition. I think part of the challenge that I had so much of the latter part of my career was I saw leaders who felt like that their people were their competition. And so every time those people started to have some success, they had to make sure that they undermined them or did something to kind of knock them back down and don't steal my spotlight. Well, it's what I tell people is the success of my people was the greatest accomplishment in my career. If someone that worked for me bypassed me on that corporate ladder, great. That was awesome because that was what they wanted to do. I didn't want to do it. They did. Great. Let's get you there. And when they did it, celebrate it. Because again, at some point we all want to retire, right? We want to do something that we enjoy in life, and somebody's got to take those roles that we fill. And so, helping your legacy stand the test of time by training people in a manner that gives respectfulness to others and treats people in a manner that, again, go back to the golden rule, the way that you want to be treated, that's a great testament to your legacy.
Yes. And if people want to actually get in touch with you, William, learn more about you, connect to you, how they can do that?
Well, I have a website. It's williamcdavis.net, williamcdavis.net. They can reach out to me. There's a link on every page that you can set up a call with me and we can talk. There's no charge associated with that. Like I know a lot of people charge for a first call. Well, I don't do that. I'm also on LinkedIn. So again, William C. Davis. They can reach out to me there, and it just love to chat. I mean, there's a lot of people that I do speaking engagements at that will call me after the fact and say, "Hey, I got this situation. What do you think?" And I'm more than happy to talk through those with you and see if we can't help get you in a better spot.
Great. Yeah. Anyone watching us, you can actually check out the link in the description of this episode, the links that William mentioned in the description of this episode, and connect to him that way. So, William, just before we go, one final question. If someone is if someone is a leader and wants to actually find out how they can be a better leader, or how they can actually improve, what's one tip you can share with them?
Well, I go back to what I've mentioned already. Leadership is and will always be about your people. And so start treating your people with the respect that they deserve. Everybody makes mistakes, right? Nobody's going to be perfect. You're not perfect as the leader. Everybody makes mistakes, but treat people in a respectful manner. And that goes a long way to start changing the relationship dynamic that you have with them and building a better opportunity for both of you to work together.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that tip. Thank you also for sharing your story. And thank you all for watching and listening. If you like this episode, drop us a like, subscribe. And if you have any questions for William or me, you can ask them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer those. William, thanks a lot for being a guest today.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate you having me.
Same here.